Attention, all curious minds, innovators, and trendsetters. It's time to pause, lean in, and get ready for an extraordinary journey as we dive deep into the fascinating realms of life, technology, entertainment, and business. Let's explore, learn, and grow together. Brace yourselves, for the next thrilling episodes of Hipther Talks is about to take off. Counting down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And here we go.
Hi everyone, Zoltan here. We're back again this week with the Hipther Talks. And yeah, like I told you this year, I am trying to bring some of our old friends to the podcast. It's crazy that in 4 years I did not invite people that I know from the gaming industry or for the blockchain industry. I keep inviting new people, but like I said, this year is different. So today we have Alex Pratt with us from Clarion Gaming. Alex, it's nice to have you here.
Thank you. No, good to be here. I've been watching actually a lot of your stuff you do on LinkedIn and YouTube, so it's good to be invited.
It's good to know that you're watching us. But guys, I know Alex since 2008 or something like that. I think it was my first affiliate conference that I attended in Budapest. I know that two former high school friends have invited me to Budapest because they have been doing this affiliate thing for a while. And yeah, that's why I met Alex. And I think Michael Caselli and Shona and Marit was in your team back then. So yeah, they were already helping shape the industry, which I fell in love with at that moment. And I said that this is something I want to do. I don't want to do anything else. The gaming industry is where I need to be at. So like I said, in this episode, I'm speaking to the man who has had a front row seat to the evolution of the industry. Whether we are talking about the affiliate marketing or media side or supplier side, we will talk about business, of course, but more than that, we will talk about the legacy, the leadership, and how the most important currency of the industry is working, which is trust. This is something I read in an interview Alex has gave to I don't know which outlet, but this stuck in my head, so that's why I'm keeping it here. So yeah, Alex, I know that many people know you, but many people don't. We have a diverse audience coming from multiple industries. So could you share a few words about yourself and your background and what you're doing now?
So predominantly in the gaming industry. So I joined in 2004, so a long time ago now. In fact, in 10 days, it'll be my 21st birthday, which I need to remember. So when I started on a magazine called iGaming Business, back then when it was all about print magazines, websites were a distant fantasy. And really, just fell in love with the industry. My first weekend in the job was Vegas, so you couldn't really sort of turn back from there and say you don't want to be here. And just grew that out to directories and reports, and then obviously digital came along, and we started to do that. We then, had a go at doing events. Had no idea, had no background. Kind of invented it as we went along and launched what is now the IGB affiliate events, but at the time was called Cap Euro. And that obviously grew to huge size through kind of luck and a bit of skill until around 2016 we sold that business to Clarion, and then then I've been in Clarion for the last 9 years, just helping. Originally I sort of did a bit more in the non-gaming market, so running things like Affiliate Summit, Traffic and Conversion Summit, which we acquired, and then came back into gaming's kind of hardcore in 2020 during COVID to head up the gaming division at Clarion. So we do media and events, B2B.
All right, so everybody knows Clarion, so I think that there's no need for introduction there. But yeah, like I said, I've met you in 2008, and it was Budapest Affiliate Conference. And I don't know, what do you remember about those early years, like 2008, 2007?
I remember, because we would have launched, I can never remember properly because it's all a bit of a blur, but we probably were only going about 2 years at that point. So it was just a brilliant time of discovery. I was a lot younger than this, probably a lot more naive, which I think actually helped because it allowed us to make a lot of mistakes. And I think the good thing at the time is the industry was growing really fast. On the affiliate side, I think one of our jobs was to connect this community that mainly worked at home, that didn't really have an identity, that were often seen as a necessary evil by the operators, or at least at the board level, weren't seen as value. A lot of people weren't doing it full time, hence why we originally used to do the event on a Friday and Saturday. And so it was, I hate saying it, but it was like bringing lots of friends together and family, but within an environment where there was tons of innovation, tons of evolution, stuff was happening all the time, whether it was bad or good, but it was constantly changing. I think it was just a time of discovery, and it was just brilliant fun, really brilliant fun. Certainly, yeah, and you were getting to see new places around the world, and it was back then where I didn't get hangovers, so you could have a good time and still get up. Now, not so much.
All right. Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that the fact that, of course, you did not have a background in event organizing. That's how I also got into doing conferences without any background. Just like, but at least I saw you guys paved the way, so I had something to learn from. But back then, when you guys were doing those conferences, there was nobody else doing those affiliate conferences. The Sigma and others were like coming just around 2015 or something like that. So you guys just paved the way for everybody else to host this type of get-togethers.
Yeah, although we made a lot of mistakes along the way, so be careful copying it. We just hit them.
The thing is that everybody makes mistakes behind the scenes, and we still do. Of course, we still run into some trouble that you, of course, we will not share. But yeah, that's how you learn, and that's why it's so exciting. So, but you mentioned that your first week at your job was a trip to Las Vegas, and that's when you said that, all right, you love it, you fell in love with this job. But was there a certain point in your career when you said that this is, of course, an interesting job, but this is what I would like to do until, of course, I don't know if you want to do this until your rest of your life, but you probably like it so much that you won't like change this.
Yeah, and I think it's weird because there was I've forgotten his name, the guy that brought down Barings Bank in Hong Kong. But there's a really good movie. I've forgotten who plays him, but there's a bit in that movie I remember where he's just at the top of his game. Like, he's loving everything in life. I think he's partying in some bar in the top of some tower in Hong Kong, and he's like, this is like the moment to remember. This is the pinnacle. And I always thought, God, I want one of those. And I will remember, and I cannot tell you what year, but it must have been back in the early days. So yeah, probably around 5, 6, 7, 2000. It was after G2E, I think. It was in Vegas. We were in a club, and I couldn't tell you the name, in the Wynn with a waterfall in it. And I was just surrounded by sort of 10 people from the affiliate industry, all of us in different backgrounds, different walks of life. And I just looked around and I was like, what? I'm in a club in Vegas with a waterfall with the biggest bottle of champagne I've ever seen in my life that I didn't even pay for. And I'm with people I really like hanging out with. And I was like, this is not a job. This is like the greatest thing in the world. And my ex-wife, I used to say to her, like, she was in shipping. She did events and publishing in shipping and insurance. And she just couldn't understand why I was enjoying it so much until I think she came to one of our events. She was like, none of you work. Like, all of you are just having a good time. And I think there's probably loads of moments I've had since then, but I think that was the moment where I was like, oh my God, I am lucky. It's just too good.
Yeah, the reason I ask you, because this is just something I realized last week.
Oh, wow.
Now we're planning the 3rd Halloween party in Warsaw.
I saw that.
Yeah, and I could not believe it that, man, we are doing a Halloween party in Warsaw. Like you said, big party, big champagne and everything. And yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do to entertain people after a hard day of conferencing. So yeah, we're lucky to be surrounded by people that are actually traveling from all around the world to meet up with friends. And some of them, like, consider themselves as family at all the conferences.
No, and I think it's really important to acknowledge those moments and those feelings. It sounds a bit fluffy, but I think particularly if you're in events or media, things move quite fast. You're working so hard to get to that moment in time, whether it's a day, 2 or 3, and then it happens and you move on and you're like, right, I've got to do the next thing. And actually, I think quite often it's almost like on the day of your wedding, you need to step back and go, wow, actually what we're doing is amazing. And the trust that people put in us, whether it's money or time to come to an event, actually is something to be really proud of, whether it's 10 people that you've convinced to come to a room or 10,000. It's a brilliant job.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't know if you recall, because we had many conversations along the years, but it was, I think, around 2015-ish, something like that. We met up at ICE, and I know you told me that with the conferences, it's like you're working at the circus. It's a never-ending stuff. You just like go to the next one and do the next one. And this is what I keep telling people, because after every conference, people just like start walking up to you and say, okay, now you're probably going to take a month or 2 break. I said, no, man, we're back in the office next week and we're already working on the next one. So yeah, I always keep telling them that Alex Pratt has said that it's just like the circus. It's like never-ending stuff. You just
keep going. Just keep going. Yeah. I've just remembered you DJ'd at Ministry of Sound at one of our events. Yeah. You remember that? Yes. That's a great memory.
Yeah, it is. It is. Actually, not many people have managed to DJ at Ministry of Sound. So no. Thank you for that officially now.
And I remember where we had the logo on the outside, and obviously growing up, we always like, bloody hell, Ministry of Sound, one of the greatest clubs. Yeah, I got a logo on it. You got a DJ. We both got our dream.
Jesus God. Yeah, those are some memories. So, Alex, you help grow some of the most iconic events in the industry, and we're talking about ICE because, of course, you have come to Clarion later. ICE is like a bigger conference for those who are not in the industry but want to know more about it. But IGB Affiliate, IGB Live. So, beyond scale, what has always stood out in the sense of community for you, and how do you actually build that on a global level?
I think it's interesting because I think unless if you approach it in the wrong way, you can lose that community feel and trust and relationship with the market really fast. And that's not just in gaming. There is a list of gigantic scaled events that people thought, God, they'll be here forever, and they can die in as fast as a year, most of the time 2 years. And I think one of the things that people we don't talk that openly about it. I'm not sure we have, apart from in conversations. But when I took over gaming again in November 2020, ICE was in that position. It was not in a good place. I think it was a combination of Brexit, combination of COVID, so people and they were starting to look at how much they spent. I think ICE had lost touch with the industry. I think it had moved from being a partner to being a supplier. And actually, when you are a supplier, you're just a name on a list and a cost. And so a big bit of work. And to give you an example, we know, and we'll never know how many, but we know there was a significant number of our customers were meeting privately and looking at venues around Europe to replace ICE. And that was like how close it got. So it was really crap, because I started and I was like, oh my God, this thing. So we've got to do something about that. And I had no relationship with the land-based industry. So for their perspective, they're like, oh, it's iGaming. He's just going to take over ICE and change it. So we had to build trust really fast. And so we almost took a step back and looked and created this manifesto, which was this 10-point pledge to the sector about who we are and what we do. And it didn't talk about our product whatsoever. What it did is it talked about how we can be a partner to the sector, and whether that is pain points like innovation. People want innovation, new products. So how can we help do that? Regulation, how can we connect and bring in more regulators than anywhere else in the world to have really important conversations? Or player protection is one of the biggest biggest priorities on most people's desks these days. So how can we help through the consumer protection zone, help to bring that conversation to the forefront? So, and how can we be a better partner? So I think the thing that we do differently now is that we have to be, and I say this to everyone that joins our company, if great that you want to work in events, great that you want to work in media, but if you're going to work here, you need to be gaming first. You need to love this sector, and you either will love it or hate it, and you'll know very quickly if you're going to hate it, but just move on. I don't want you to work here because it's a gigantic, brilliant event to work on. I want because you love gaming. And if you can love gaming, and it doesn't matter where you work in the business, then everything we do is about defending, about promoting, about being a partner in the sector. And I think that has to be at the paramount of what we do. And I think that we didn't realize that's what we were doing at iGaming Business. We were just so involved in the sector when we created an event. It's because we felt that's what the market wanted rather than it's a license to make money. So I think, it's a long-winded way of saying, I think that's how you create a community by being part of it. I should have just done that.
Exactly. And I really
the same as you, same as what you guys do.
I just want to say that I don't know who is working on your agendas on the conferences, but I would like to congratulate them now officially, because I think you guys are the only ones who are not copying our panel discussion titles or ideas that we have. Because
we need to do that.
No, it has been for the past 2 years some like a practice from some of the gigantic other organizers that we actually don't compete with because we're not in the same league. We saw that they have copied many of our content there. So and you guys didn't. You always bring something fresh and something new. So that's very good to see.
No, that team is good, really good. So you got a lady called Sadie who actually just left, who's been around with us for years, but she'll probably do a bit of concern. But Damien as well, and they'll spend months in conversations and research calls in order to work out what we need to talk about. And I think the other part as well, which again you don't do, is actually that pay to play, where if people are just paying to speak, or it feels weird, and then people are paying to listen. I'm like, how does this work? Like the math doesn't add up. Someone's not getting value.
Yeah, and we get people approaching us how much to speak at your conference, and we said, no, man, it's free. Every time it's free because we care about what you're going to say, not what you're going to pay it to be in that session. So, and like I said at the beginning, you said before that this industry runs on trust, on relationships, on being known. So, what does that mean in practice? And I'm also interested about what does real reputation capital look like for you?
I think it's just about, it's hard to explain because I just think it's about being good and kind, which I know sounds like rubbish.
Corny, yeah.
But you can, like even now, I've got, I know someone that's looking for a Ned, and I know someone that would be perfect to be that Ned. And I said it to my partner, and she's like, why are you taking a cut for that? I was like, no, because that person's my friend and that needs help. And I said, it will come back round. That's just how, and I think I've probably missed out on a ton of different opportunities where I could have taken a cut of various records. In fact, I know some massive deals have done because I put people in the room. But my view is that's my job, my role, to make those connections, and stuff does come back. And when, I don't know, it could be everything from, if I go back to the old days when we rebranded Capure into IGB Affiliate, and then we had a ton of problem with the brand, the older brand, because we had some issues, or the business partners we had a load of issues, and it was very public and all over the place. The only reason we got through that is because I had a ton of people that came up and said, Alex is all right. You can trust Alex. Like, we'll carry on going to his event. And I think you get that from just being, a good person. And I think, and stay true to yourself. And it's difficult because, to be honest, after 20 years, if you're not a good person, it's quite easy to work out. And it's okay to make mistakes, but you just need to, own up when you've fucked up.
Of course, yeah. And but still people get it wrong. And my question to you would be about, what do you think about these people who still get it wrong about B2B media and
it will come
B2B events?
Yeah. How do you mean?
So basically, they still sometimes work on that bad reputation. Because you can hear it. You can always meet somebody at a certain conference that's going to say about that event organizers that they screwed us over, blah blah blah. So why do you think they still do it? Because, like you said, it's okay. It's okay to be good. You can be a good person. You can just because there's many companies in this industry. You don't have to fight for them. You don't like to be like that worst person in the room who just wants to take profit.
Yeah, and I think it'll all come out in the end. I just I'm very frustrating to some people because I just play the long game, and I just believe in the end, and I've made mistakes, and people have got huge and massive who shouldn't be huge and massive. But I'd rather play that long game than start fighting in the trenches and making stuff up, or even just having those sorts of conversations. I'd rather focus on the product, on what we do, on that quality, and have the conversation around there. And I think it'll win out in the end. But yeah, I'm sure even now, well, I know that some experiences people have with us or with our staff or with our products are not always the greatest. The problem is you get bigger, you get less and less in touch with those. So I will only hear about them down the line or not at all. And I think it's just that when we do something about it, and we do it really fast. And I think it's also empowering our senior managers as well to have the authority and integrity to be able to stand up for those sorts of things as well.
All right, so let's also talk about the relocation of ICE to Barcelona, because you guys have always balanced commercial vision with audience insights, and of course you reached out to the community before you guys did it. But it's still a topic which is going on. I don't know why, but it's still going on.
Yeah.
So what's your process like when making such a strategic move? Like, this is the perfect example, the relocation of ICE from London to Barcelona.
No, the process, if we had employed the process we always did, it would have failed. And Stuart, who's manager director of Live, him and I, when we decided, right, we need to look at whether we move it or not. So we started to do it ourselves, thinking this would be a really easy project. You find some venues, some dates, and then you tell people, what should we do? Luckily, our CEO of kind of the overall Clarion randomly met a lady who just was incredible at an event in Singapore, who we basically brought in as a consultant, her and her husband. Her husband did a lot of the economic impact assessments, which allowed us to have conversations with cities about the value of ICE to their city. And she had experience moving things like Mobile World Congress, as well as other events in relocation. And it was a machine of data and analysis, and it was incredible. And I'm more than happy to share the data points. Just if you're ever looking at moving to a new city, you probably don't need to go to the depth it went, but certainly some of it's really interesting. So she created, much like you would if you were bidding on an Olympics, and it went from everything to do with volume of taxis, distance from airport to here. We made a wallet of a typical attendee if they bought a sandwich, a beer, or stayed in a 3-star hotel, got 3 taxis and 2 trains, and then you could start. But then we'd say, actually, well, a lot of people are flying in from this city, so let's mock it for our top 10 attending cities as well as other areas. So it was really interesting like that. It was cheaper for an attendee that lived outside of London to attend the event in Barcelona than it was to attend the event in London, because our trains, hotels, food are so bloody expensive. So anyway, it was just a ton of data, and we weighed that up. I can't remember. I think it was 40% on attendee customer, 40% on exhibitor customer, 20% on us. And then within our 20%, we then broke it down again and again. So we scored it all, tons of scores, tons of stuff. During that process, you're renegotiating all the time with the venue, which will adapt the scores, because we can say, actually, well, look, you're scoring low here. If you're able to change that, you can bring you back up. So it's very mathematical. And then we went to the kind of 22 advisory board, or 23, and said, look, here's the scores, here's the pricing, here's all the information. And luckily, about 20 out of the 23 voted Barcelona. Otherwise, we would have had to have made the decision, and luckily didn't have to. Otherwise, it would have been awful. And to be fair, because of all that work, it was the right decision. because it worked. Tons of people turned up. The metrics on customer satisfaction, all those points were ridiculously high. The hard bit now, we've got the next 3 years, because actually everyone's going to turn up for year one because they want to have a look. Now we've got to push it, and it's going to be an incredible journey, that event. It is one of the things when I took over ICE was to stop thinking about it as the four walls of Excel, and actually let's look at it in terms of the size and scale of this sector. And if you start to map the addressable market, it is infinitely bigger than what ICE is. And I think that allows us then to create a platform, a shop window, a message for the global gaming industry that it is serious, it is technology, it is jobs, it is entertainment, it isn't this dark recess that maybe the media likes to paint it in sometimes.
Yeah, and there's not much time to go. There's about 4 months.
No, it's all about to kick off.
It's around the corner. You blink twice, it's already January.
This is the scary bit. And the worst is Christmas, because our registrations were flying, and then it hits Christmas and it dies. And then we're like, we've got to wait 2 weeks as year on year or weeks out data we're suddenly falling behind the show before, thinking, is everyone going to wake up in January? They did, thank goodness. But
of course they do.
It was a stressful period.
Yeah, people have time to register during the holidays, between the holidays. All right, so let's also talk about the ICE Research Institute. I read about this has been launched this year, right? I think it was a conference gaming in Spain. Willem, I think, is the organizer there. So this is just not about tech, right? So it's also about ethics, AI, sustainability. So why did Clarion decide to go in this direction as well? And what are you hoping to change in long term?
Yeah, so this is being led by, hopefully you've come across, have been with us for years, but Eva Bakun, who now lives out in Barcelona, absolutely incredible employee person that just is passionate about our sector, but also about responsible gambling, DEI, all the things that are right and should reflect our industry. So she didn't come up with the idea, but she's certainly the right person to lead it. So it is a partnership with the Barcelona City and the FIRA. Initially, I hope that as we start to grow it, we will get industry contributions, and it will grow bigger and larger than what it is at the moment. But we want to kind of prove that it works. So this kind of, I guess, ties much more back into that partnership model that I talked about. So it's not about, this will not make any money. This will not, it will indirectly benefit us as a brand, but actually it's not about that. It's about helping fund charities, academia, and research around really important issues in gaming. And a lot of that will be tied to the Spanish or local area, but also looking at international opportunity. So there's a lot of applications in there. So there's already some money that's funding a local gambling charity in Barcelona. And actually it's really interesting because now we're able to fund training and things like this in there. But actually other parts are looking at, there's so many applications. There's one looking at, so at the moment, the messaging that a problem gambler sees. So there's one research case that's applied, whether we give it or not, that will be testing every all their brain signals and skin and eyes, and actually, is that the right message in order to stop them gambling? There's ones around, does neurodiversity affect your propensity to potentially have a gambling problem, or the way that you play? There's ones around the use of AI and actually putting some guardrails and ethics around there. So there's tons of stuff they're looking at, and I hope that when the research starts to be published, and it won't be because it's sort of 2 or 3 year projects, a lot of them, that we will help to move this industry further along, help to I guess add to the reputation of our sector that we take this stuff seriously, but also help protect players, help make it a safer place that's really focused on entertainment. I think it's really exciting because it allows us to look at stuff that we've never never would have thought to look at before, and should be bloody interesting as well when it comes out. Just personally, I find it fascinating.
Yeah, it is, and it's great to like have this convergence with other industries as well. Because when we started with the Tech Conference Europe, we just like had a separate conference series which was not focused on gaming. We found so many information that can be helped, like integrated into the gaming industry, and that's why we did this merger of the two conferences so people can meet up. And this is my next question to you, because you guys also have this unique opportunity, of course, on a bigger scale, to look behind the scenes and see what's going to happen, to like predict. And I'm interested about what are some of the upcoming shifts you can see in the areas like fraud prevention, compliance, and payments, because I know you guys are very strong in that area.
Yeah, no, and I think I can see, because we actually do quite a lot in, not just in gaming, but in technology. We have a huge, gigantic show that was in Berlin a couple of weeks ago called IFA. Hundreds of thousands of visitors, 7,000 exhibitors, I think. As well as we have events in payments and in everything you can think of. But yeah, I think, look, for me, and I am no expert, which is why I'm a media and events person, not running a tech business. But look, for me, I think it's all about, and I think it's in multiple sectors. It's like, how can we get technology to do more of the heavy lifting? So, and I think AI brings around a lot of opportunity for that. So look, it can help us spot fraud much faster. I think tighter regulations are pushing companies to be more proactive on compliance. And actually, it's all about making those payments smoother and safer for players across different markets. So, yeah, I think for me, it's exciting about balancing player protection with a frictionless player experience. And I think that's the opportunity. And I think with the evolution we're seeing in technology, I think that's allowing us to do a lot of that. And I think, that's where I think I'm most excited. But there's probably tons of really interesting things that you see more so.
Yeah, because you cannot just like automate those type of messages that somebody goes up to a casino and, hey, you have a gambling problem. Say, what the fuck, man? I'm just getting started, you know?
Yeah.
And these type of things happen. So it's very interesting to see technology.
And I think the thing is, with increasing regulation, we're seeing more and more friction put in that player journey. So it's, how do we be compliant, but also just give the best player experience possible? And I think, the only way to do that is through this kind of new technology.
Yeah, hopefully the legislators who are usually listening to our podcast also understand this, because last week there was news that about the black market in Europe has rose with 73% last year due to these regulations that were added without any like advantage for the operators for them to be around. So you might want to check that out as well before making decisions with taxing and stuff like that and banning advertising, because sometimes it's not that proactive. So let's also talk about competition for a moment. Are you okay with that, Alex?
Yes, I would say you're my number one competitor.
Yeah, we wish, my friend. But you see events like SBC and Sigma, which have grown into like huge global expos now on their own. So what's your view on how this competitive landscape has evolved in the recent years? And let's also, if we can, let's talk openly about it, because nobody is listening, right?
Yeah.
So, we are not going to downplay others, of course, but let's learn how Clarion thinks about this, and how do you guys adapt?
Yeah, and I think it is busier than it's ever been, both media and events, to be honest. There's a ton of newsletters, a ton of websites, a ton of sources of data. AI is only making that even more accessible and available. And then there's so many events. And look, from my view, I just don't think it's sustainable. I'm surprised we still have the volume and size of events that are still happening. So there's a question for me around, why is that happening? Maybe I just don't understand the market, and there's tons of business to be done, and people are enjoying it. But I think we're in a bit of a kind of FOMO, post-COVID, still bounce back. And I know it's a long time ago now, but I still think we're kind of in that. I think we will see that settle. We've got customers already saying actually they're pulling out of a lot of events. They're starting to prioritize different ones, and for different reasons. Like the role of something like ICE for X size company is different for Y size company, and the same as going to I don't know, a smaller next event. Everything has a different role. For me, it's about, and actually, I don't know if you've seen it, but I created an event last year, and we're doing it again in October. It's a free event. It's not to make money. In fact, I will lose money, which is not always good. But it's called Marketing Leaders Forum. So I created that because of this. I just found there's a ton of money floating around the market in B2B suppliers. I think it's being spent in a lot of places. I think media owners and events are not taking accountability enough for the ROI. ROI is probably the value they're delivering, because some people aren't looking for leads, but the value. And so I created this one-day conference, going to be 1.5 this year, where our customers, and actually a lot of them aren't our customers, so people that make decisions on events and media, we bring in out of industry some of the best speakers in the world. My aim is for them to walk away and start to ask the questions that are uncomfortable of me and our competitors. And I think then be able to make better and more informed choices around campaigns that they run. And I believe and I hope that our products are good enough to stand up to those questions. And we're doing a lot of work around providing dashboards, providing transparency, so people can start to see not just a single piece of inventory, but actually a whole campaign. Like who clicked your ads, who viewed them, who came to your webinar, who then came to your stand and you scanned. How does that then transfer into a meeting? They're things that I believe will separate us in the long term. But yeah, it's difficult, but I think everyone's got a different strategy. Mine was, when I took over gaming, I shut the events in Africa. They were launching one in Asia. There was ICE America. There was the event in Lisbon, the affiliate event in Lisbon. I shut all of them, just said, right, let's focus on our core. Let's focus on our key products, which at the time was IGB Affiliate, IGB Live, and ICE. I think that we will look for expansion at times, but I'm not going to chase a region because it's exciting. That's an operator's job, not mine. Mine is to be able to provide a sustainable platform to help them drive and grow their business. And you might remember, I've done events in you get addicted to it. We had events we had an event in Spanish, in French, in Nordics. We had them everywhere. And it turned out, it's really hard psychologically, but it turned out when you close them, you make more money, because actually all the time and effort that goes into those, we can focus on the top tier events that we own. So yeah, I think we're doing things a bit differently, but it's going to be an interesting. I don't know who is going to win some of these wars, because there's some very, very large scaled events now that are all competing in one. Like, let's look at SBC, Sigma, IGB Live. Those three, they might put up different amounts of people that attend them and amount of exhibitors, but the truth is a lot of that is rubbish. They're all the similar sort of size, attracting similar sort of people, and that is going to be an interest. You can't have those three and ICE existing. Maybe you can, maybe.
Yeah, the industry has grown a lot in the past years in terms of it employs a lot more people, and I've spoken to some of course, when we get our networking parties, we have 150 people, so we can talk to many people there. And I always get this type of feedback coming from these large closing parties, you can call, or concerts with DJs and everything.
They're nuts.
That's basically for the people who are at the stand. So the helpers are invited mostly for this. So that's why you see probably all these big people going around for these large closing parties, because they are there for the conference. They don't actually understand what's happening. The decision makers are going to lunch. They're not going to go to like this type of events where you cannot speak to each other. And I also saw that the numbers are being pumped up, and they are like
I mean, they're
counted
so
like
big, it's ridiculous.
I think that they are counting it like they do with the festivals. You have one day when you have 10,000 people, and you
Oh, I
count them
see.
again for the
Yeah.
second day, and you count them again for the third day. That's 30,000 attendees. But basically, there's 10,000, but you counting them for every day. That's like the festival type of
Yeah.
experience. Yeah, but like you said, 4 big conferences like that it's not going to be sustainable. It's like the crazy years now, and you see a lot of those big suppliers that are always at every conference, like Pet Construct, when they are everywhere. And but despite all this growth and other players, of course, ICE is still the most attended conference, right? So it's one of that anchors of the global gaming calendar, which everybody's looking about it. And what do you think that is the main reason that ICE has landed in this position? So, of course, is it the brand legacy, the scale, the timing, or something else?
I think it's all of the above and also
Okay.
other stuff. I think having seen us come close to having seen that event grow, but not grow giantly, be seen as a global event, but really it was 60, 70%, no, not 60, 45% UK attendance when it was in London. It was a really big, successful event, but it wasn't the ICE it is today or will be over the next few years. And I think it's a combination of brand, legacy, scale, but actually that'll only get you so far. I think it's then actually what is the evolution? Where's the position? And we had to position it as a global event. Like when the people say to me, why have you not got an event in Brazil? Everyone's got an event. Well, one, I don't want to do a bloody event in Brazil because everyone's already got one. But two, we have got an event for Brazil. It's called ICE. And actually, we do a ton of work with regulators and pliers and associations and media to bring those decision makers from LATAM over to ICE. So I think, there's a big part about positioning it as global. There's a big part about what is the roadmap for ICE over the next 2 to 3 years to drive that growth. So that is really thought about. And it's thought about not years ago, 2 years ago, and we're implementing a lot of that. So as we start to expand into Spain, and we're seeing that growth, I think it was 1,200% attendee growth in there. So we're also now looking at places like Italy. We're also looking at adjacent segments like street gaming as we start to move into there. We're also looking at things like technologies. You talked a lot about that, and we've seen that in other events that we own that are vertical events in a single sector. As gaming starts to become more and more regulated and accepted as a form of entertainment, technology businesses they're already working it anyway, but now they're
Yeah.
like, actually, we'd like to talk about working on it. So things like our partnership with Microsoft to do a big hackathon this year, and that will bring in other technology businesses and other startups from adjacent sectors. So I think it's global. It's a plan. It's looking at ICE as what do they say? They say it's where the world of gaming comes to do
An
business.
institution.
And it is where that world of gaming comes to do business. And it
Yeah.
isn't just in four walls. It's in the cathedral. It's in another old building I can't remember the name
Yeah.
of. It's
Yeah.
in the tapas bars and the restaurants and the museums, the sport. And I want to slowly, and Barcelona is big enough for us to take over that city and create where the world of gaming comes to do business,
Yeah, it's
just for
like
1 week.
that World Expo, right?
Yeah. And there's a few like that, Web Summit, South by Southwest, our show, IFA. There's quite a lot of events that can do that. And I believe, but the first thing is to stop seeing it as an event or an exhibition. Actually, it's a gathering of people, and our job is to connect them. But I think it's interesting when you talk about 150 people. I think it's really important that, I used to call it yogurt pot conference. If the way you describe your event can also describe a yogurt pot conference, then you've got no USP. Like saying 20,000 people, oldest event in history, 500 exhibitors, 130,000 square meters, all of that could be a yogurt pot conference. So what is it that's truly unique about your event? I think that's what ICE has, some really unique factors that means it generates that loyalty.
All right.
But we have to be careful because that can go in a day. So yeah, it's about working bloody hard to keep it.
Of course. So let's return to the competition, because I want to ask you about, do you think that healthy competition pushes the industry forward, or does it dilute focus and stretch the community too thin?
Generally, I'd say healthy competition is brilliant because it creates innovation. It stops you settling on your laurels. And I think actually us launching our events in the old days, people don't remember, but you used to pay bloody fortunes to attend most of the Clarion events. We look, by accident, made, well, not by accident, but didn't know what it was going to do, made it free for affiliates to come. And that changed loads of stuff as it created competition. So I think it's good. Do I think at the moment? I think at the moment we are in danger of losing value on events themselves by having so many, or being like, or exaggerating the value that they are bringing to the sector. And I think, I get it. People have got to pay bills. They've got to have cash flow. They've got to chase those numbers. But I think some of these events, if I was running them, I'd be closing them because I don't think they're delivering value. And I think that is critical for our growth. So yeah, it worries me that almost that we are in, we'll all get tarred with the same brush. So I'm not sure, but it's still good. It still keeps me alive.
Yeah, there was a time in 2019. I actually had the same feeling as I have now. This was a huge rush. Everybody was like going to conferences. SBC was growing. Sigma was growing. Everybody was going to ICE. Then the world stopped. And now it's the same thing happening again. Because it wasn't like that 2017, 2018. 2019, I had this feeling about this huge rush. And it's happening again. And it's very interesting to see that it's now happening on an even larger scale. With now it's not just like conferences happening 4 or 5 in Europe and 1 in the US. Now there's 3 in the US, 1 in Brazil, 1 in Asia, 1 in Africa. So yeah, it's getting crazy. So what's your take on how to handle competitors who are clearly ambitious? And maybe sometimes provocative, because we've seen that the whole world, I mean, the industry has seen this. I remember when you guys have decided to move to Barcelona, there was like
Raz's LinkedIn post.
Yes. But ultimately, you guys play in the same ecosystem. So how do you balance competitive respect with the drive to lead?
Yeah, I just think for me, it's really easy to get distracted. It's really easy to feel personal about these things. Someone that works for me sent a message yesterday going, God, this is annoying me. And it was one of our competitors that keeps promoting, they've got this person signed up as this. And I said, honestly, Sigma used to do this. It used to annoy me loads. Then I realized actually it's not going to bear any relevance on their success or our failure. And I think all we need to do is just make sure we keep our head down, focus on our business plan, focus on our strategy, definitely learn from them, the good parts, but we just need to stay focused. And I think it's really easy to be distracted. And I think that's when things start to go wrong, because you often then chase like either a launch or doing something different that actually probably the market didn't want. And that's only going to use up your time and money. And I can see it all the time. And in different events in different places. But look, they're making their own decisions often. I've been wrong as well, about loads of times. So, I think just don't. And I enjoy with the vast majority of my competitors. I get on with them really well, and we admire the good things about what they do, and we'll try and copy them if we can.
So was it a mistake running 100 kilometers?
No, it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I just need to get back in. Well, what's annoying is I wasn't running the 100 kilometers, or you weren't running that competition thing. Strava club at the same time, because I would have arrived in that top 5. But I will never get. It's surprisingly how fit and how far people run in the game industry. I love that Strava group you've got for runners. I think it's brilliant.
We can see that
like a 5K guy these days.
Yeah, but people actually do like a lot of kilometers. Like in
Yeah,
3 months,
huge.
1,000 kilometers, and you can see like how they're competing. And the next step is to have different leagues. So the next challenge will have these type of people that are very competitive, running between 600 to 1,000 kilometers, and have the amateur level to also get some prizes, because these guys have been winning all our challenges. So it's starting to get boring, you know. So now we're going to
Exactly.
split them up.
Yeah, you
So
need
you
almost
can,
like handicaps.
yeah. So you can get back in the game as on the amateur level.
Oh, I love that. No, it's such a good. Look, that is another good example of doing something that isn't necessarily, well, isn't it? It's not supposed to make you money. It's actually
No,
just something that reflects the passion in the community and the industry, and that can only. It's quite hard to quantify what that will bring back for you, but it's got to
nothing.
do something.
Yeah, it's basically just like the seeing like how people connect. Because I remember that at some of our conferences, and I'm sure that you also seen this at networking events, like when you're in a pub with everybody, that sometimes you can see how happy people get when they are
Mm.
talking to somebody from the industry. Because let's face it, I think it was Michael Caselli this year in Prague. We had him as a speaker. He said that your friends are not going to like what you do. So everybody who is in this industry is like that. Mostly they cannot talk to their friends about what they do because they're gambling industry, blah blah blah, you know. But when you get to this type of parties, you're like, man, I can talk to somebody about what I do. And this
Yeah.
is this we saw the same thing with sports, because we started doing these networking runs. So we said, why not have a club where people can like post their runs, and then why not do a challenge? Why not do a competition? Let's give out prizes. So yeah, it's just like keeps the community going. It's not actually making us any contacts or making us any money. It's like just happy to see this happen.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. And actually, my partner, I sent it to. She runs events in the non-gaming affiliate market, and I was sending her your thing because it's that people are wanting to do it in there, and actually, it's just so good, such a good thing.
Yeah,
They've done like sports days, and they did a cycle to France and all sorts of stuff.
that's nice. So you're now a senior leader, right? And in our
Theoretically,
fest, yeah, you come a long way, and yeah, like you said, 21 years. My God, the years are passing by so
it's too
fast. So
expensive to make me redundant. That's the problem. I'm stuck
all
here
right.
forever.
So what's the hardest leadership lesson you have learned, and maybe you have learned the hard way?
Uh, I think, I think, yeah, I think the hardest would be during COVID. It was just, it was the best of times and the worst of times, as a quote. But personally, it was difficult. But I actually spent more time with the kids. The weather was good. It wasn't like some of the people that work for me that are in London with no garden. That was horrific. I had a garden. I wasn't living in London, so it was quite nice. But from a work perspective, it was really, really hard. And I learned a lot about myself and resilience. I'd never really had to like let people go because we've always been in the growth sector. Unless they were idiots and rubbish at their jobs, he didn't really mind. But actually, we had to. Clarion is a big business. We had a huge overhead and manpower bill that was coming out monthly, and we weren't. The only income we had was from digital, which was a tiny percent at the time. And we flipped some virtual events, but they weren't really making
Yeah,
money, and they were pointless. But yeah, it's just having those calls with people that some of those people, especially like on Affiliate Summit, some of those have been the first employees we'd got when we bought Affiliate Summit. So they've been through a really big journey with us, and having to have those conversations that wasn't their fault. They hadn't done anything wrong, and we were having to let them go, and it was just gutting. It was really gutting for them, for me, and they were actually the surprising thing is they were like sorry that we were having to say it, which was ridiculous because we were the ones that okay, we'd had pay cuts and all this, but we were still at least had a job. So I think, and then coming out of COVID, and it was so bloody hard to put an event on, and you had to test daily and all those different things. But I think it's just a huge lessons in, I think, resilience, leadership, like pivoting your business. Like there was so many during those two
yeah,
years, and you look back at it now, but that's because I know there was a way out. At the time, you don't know. I literally thought it's done. Live events are done. Zoom will take over. And it was, would I do things differently? Probably. I wouldn't panic as much this time. I think I'd have a really good long think about how we're going to get through this.
Yeah, and
instead of throwing everything at the wall to get a pound in.
Exactly, and get some quality time well spent while the world is stopping. Yeah, it's interesting that because we were so eager to get back to the office, everybody was doing. We did not let anyone go, so that's the same thing. But now, in August, we went fully remote, so everybody's working from home now.
Amazing. How are you finding it?
It's good. It's great. I'm at home with dogs, cats. We're also traveling to the conferences, so it's good. For us, either way, we switched because most of our employees are remote, are from abroad. So it would not make sense for us to keep an office just for like 4 people. So that's why we decided that why not like give more time for the people to like for our team to enjoy their family time. Some of them have small kids. Everybody is more healthy, like mental health.
Yeah, definitely. And
sometimes it drives you. Sometimes it drives you crazy, but yeah, it's good. All right.
Yeah, no, I was going to say it's quite interesting because it changes the role of events as well. When I know a lot of people now that run these remote teams, and they'll use our events to actually connect with each other rather than the supplier or customer. They just want to have dinner with each other because they haven't. Exactly. That's the times they see each other.
It's interesting. So let's also look forward, not back, because it was some crazy time. So there are so many startups and trends and investments that are moving at a very fast pace. So how do you personally stay ahead of all this?
Just it's difficult. I think it's just listening. Listening as much as I can, whether it's listening and watching inside and outside our sector. So for me, it's about having those conversations and asking questions. What's interesting people at the moment? What's the coolest things they've seen? But also I listen to podcasts. I'm addicted to bloody LinkedIn, even though it goes up and down in quality all the time. But also just looking what's happening around you in other sectors can give you really good ideas and innovations that might help you both in gaming, but also in the events and media sector. So yeah, for me, it's just having a healthy interest. But it is difficult because stuff is moving so fast now.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is chat as well. I read a thing the other day about if you have AI built into your investor deck, it pushes the value of your business up X. So everyone's got AI. Is it really AI? Is it machine learning? Is it?
Yeah.
I think it's definitely, there's a lot of interesting stuff. There's a lot of crap as well.
Yeah, it is. And with this AI agents thing, I tried it. I actually did we created a lounge, a networking app where we also take care of the speaker management part, where on this platform we can manage who to book hotels to, flights, stuff like that. And it's a networking app. And I built it with an AI agent. I did some vibe coding. It took me 3 months, but it's working. So yeah, It actually helped us because for us to create this type of platform, it would have cost us around 100K at least. And it would have been around 6 months to do it because what's in my head, I have to tell to a programmer who has to understand how I'm thinking, So having all this stuff that we dealt with in the past with the management of the participants and the speakers, we created this platform, which is actually great. It helps us.
I need to get into vibe coding. Everyone keeps telling me about it. My partner at her event the other day, actually, for one of their conference sessions, did a live vibe coding session. And they created on stage, I think over the 45 minutes, some sort of new, it was like an influencer detection tool thing that these brands could use in the audience. Apparently it was amazing. Literally just built it through feedback on stage.
Yeah, so if you know what you're doing and you have the
Yeah,
right information, you can do incredible stuff. But if you don't, that's your fault then.
I'll
So
be in there for a few months.
yeah. So what excites you the most about what's coming in the industry in the next 5 years, let's say, and what's your worries?
Uh, what is exciting me? I think specifically, I don't know if I have anything specific, and I don't want to be too biased to my own products, but I'm just, well, look, I am really excited about the journey ICE is on, but
Hmm.
more than that, the journey Clarion Gaming's on. Building this kind of interconnected ecosystem sounds like a buzzword, but genuinely it is, where we have a customer experience that doesn't start and stop at one piece of inventory. The stuff we're doing on digital is like incredible. We've replatformed it all. We're now looking at much more bespoke, personalized journeys. We're looking at how that data then can interact with live and things like that. So I'm very excited about that journey and how that will impact both our commercial, because everything has to make money in the end, but also our relationship with the market. Really excited to see, well, actually worrying and excited, the evolution of just our industry. I think it's a really interesting point in time. We're seeing, on the one hand, increasing regulation, which is worrying, but we're also seeing some really interesting innovation from the crypto space and different types of
Yeah.
games. And I think it's very easy to say, well, they're all black market and they're awful. Well, actually, they're not all black market and they're not all awful. Some of them
Yes.
do have
Yes.
KYC. And I think it reminds me of when land, when online arrived in land, and land was like, these
Yeah.
guys are going to have addicts. They don't care about this, blah, blah, blah. And it started as a small part of Earl's Court, and then grew and grew and grew. And actually, they work very symbiotic. They work together now. And it reminds me of, yeah, just another challenger that's coming in. And it's interesting, before land was the big part of ICE, it was the amusements, or like
Yeah.
you're banging on
Yeah.
and your
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
dodgems. I can look at from the 1940s programs, and it was all amusement. So at one point, land-based casino came in, and the amusement guys would have gone, "Oh my god, who are these guys?" And
Yeah.
actually, so it's just an interesting time to be alive and watch kind of that evolution and that that focus on the new type of player and what their expectations are from a game, from a customer experience, from an online. Because these guys are grown up online. Like,
Yeah.
it's the same as like some of the guys I work with, they want to put an e-commerce experience on our buying exhibition stands and sponsorships, because I believe, to be honest, I don't know what the price point is, but I think it's north of 100,000 that someone will pay
Yeah.
for stuff at an event without talking to a human. I don't want to talk to humans anymore, unfortunately. Sorry to all the sales humans, unless I need some help. But it's interesting, the stuff that comes out that we get sold in the events industry is ugly, horrific, friction. And I'm like, but everyone is just because it's B2B, B2C expects, I've gone off topic,
Yeah.
B2C, we expect a consumer experience. We all shop online. And if you can't produce that in a B2B experience, then don't bloody release it. Anyway, that's not what I was excited or worried about, but it's just an
Yeah.
exciting time.
Yeah, it is, and it's a good time to be alive. Actually, I think it's the best time to be alive because this is like the tipping point, like you said, of the industry. Let's see what's happening next. So, yeah, and finally, if somebody is listening today and walking into their gaming conference this year, let's say, or next year, January, you're going to ICE Barcelona, like I did back in Budapest in 2008, what advice would you give them?
I'd probably still give the same advice I would have given in 2008 as now. Um, look, if you want to party, but get up early and look good. Like, don't look like a bag of shit. I see loads of people who come to this industry. I think this is one massive party.
Yeah,
Play hard, play hard, play hard. I tell you what, the people that are winning are working bloody hard, and they're not sleeping in or missing alarms or looking like smelling or really got on that. Not so much anymore, but you still see it. That, and just be really eager to learn and listen. Like, that you will make friends and learn so much by just listening to people in the industry, and be kind.
all right.
And and if you repeat what you listen to the next person, you'll hear even more. And I tell you what, there's, especially at a conference, people love to share and talk about stuff.
Yeah, like I said, because they now have somebody who talk to.
Yeah, and join Zoltan's Strava community.
Oh yeah, let's do it. All right, so we kicked off a new tradition this year by having our guest send a message to the next guest or a question. I think it was Rasmus actually who started with sending questions. Before that, it was just like messages from one guest to the other.
Yeah.
So this time, yes, and it kept going. And now we have our previous guest, Uliana Soroka from Redcore, who asked our next guest, who is you, which animal do you associate yourself with and why?
Oh my God. Probably. I would like, maybe not associate, but I would like to be a dog. I just love dogs so much. But probably a 3-year-old dog, just so I know a little bit. I'm enjoying life, but I haven't become old and sleeping all day long. So quite playful, friendly, not a mean, nasty dog. Not that any dogs are nasty; it's the owners. But
Exactly.
yeah, I think a nice, friendly, fluffy dog. Hyperallergenic, so everyone can play with me.
Okay, good. And would you like to leave a message or a question to the next guest?
God, I didn't even. I would like to ask a question.
Question again.
Questions are good though. But I need to think about it. Would you if I'm going to have to really think about this. Yeah, if you could have if I could snap my fingers and you could have any hobby in be an expert, the world #1 at any hobby in the world, you can't monetize it. What would it be?
All right, that's some deep question right there. All right, I'm sure the next guest will appreciate it. I know him, so that's definitely going to be appreciated. So, but not as much as I appreciate you taking your time from your busy schedule and joining us on our podcast. Thank you so much, Alex. It has been great to talk about our past and the present and the future. Yeah, no,
really enjoyable. Really enjoyable.
All right. So
you're a good person, and you still are. So no, I've enjoyed that.
Same. It's good to like guys. Actually, we did not have the time to catch up with Alex for a couple of years now. I think it was like 8-9 years now. So this was a good.
I need to come to one of your events. Which would be the best one to come to?
Prague, next March.
I'm coming. Yeah, 100%. I love Prague, because I haven't been for years.
Yeah, you guys used to host a conference there.
We did. Miss it.
Yeah, so you should come to Prague. Caselli enjoyed it a lot. I know that he had a reminiscence of the good old days with the conferencing in Prague. So he took everybody to pubs and everything that he remembered. So yeah, I hope to see you there. I will definitely reach out to you after this to get a formal invitation to become a speaker at our conference, because they will be
never know.
Yeah. All right. So guys, thank you so much for joining us again. And Alex, again, thank you so much for being part of Hipther Talks. And yeah, we will be back next week with more crazy stuff. Take good care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
And that's a wrap for this section of Hipther Talks. Thank you for being a part of our journey today. Don't forget to tune in next week for more insights and discussions. Stay connected with us on Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and more. Until then, keep exploring and keep growing. We'll see you next time.